Okay. Can you hear me? Good?
Yeah.
Good, Scott?
Morning.
All right, good morning.
You can go ahead and start talking about the decision with the football operations staff creating kind of your own bubble over at the hotel and how that'll work for the remainder of the season.
Definitely. I mean, it's something that we've been talking about for quite some time about creating, a safe, haven for the staff, and I think you have to give, the Jones families, a lot of credit for establishing this system of protocol that's in place with being able to test for our families. But as of right now, we have the staff in the Omni Hotel just to get us through this this transition period. So and once again we're doing everything we possibly can to make our workplace as safe as possible.
Is this a discussion that was underway, and then just with the increased protocol, intensive protocol after Pittsburgh, it just accelerated the conversations, and you looked at all the factors and decided it was time to do it, or?
Oh, definitely. I mean, I would concur that was the timeline of how things came into place, but I can't tell you. It's really, frankly, for me personally, it's just been one constant conversation with with Jerry, Stephen, Will McClay, Todd Williams. Is just throughout this whole process of how can we improve. We're very, very fortunate to have an incredible facility to open up our space and so we can continue to work and work together. But this opportunity that we have in front of us, we want to make sure we keep everybody as safe as possible during this COVID challenge.
You mentioned kind of a transition period with the testing part of it. Is there a hope that the staff might be able to go back home at some point before the season's over? But how does that look?
I mean, that's all part of it. And the biggest thing is to get our families, as part of the same testing program that we're under. We obviously, the staff has been testing every single day, since we came back for training camp. So just trying to create the same environment for our families.
How are your advanced scouts and your college scouts handling everything? Are you guys going out as much as you would in the past?
Well, I know Will McClay's been having meetings with our guys, and they're off site currently. But as far as how many visits they've done and so forth, I couldn't tell you in detail.
Has Andy Dalton been activated yet from the reserve COVID-19 list, and will he practice today?
Yes, both Andy and Ty Crawford will be activated today. That should be on today's waivers.
You look at Minnesota, obviously the long history of playing them when you're in Green Bay. Does the defense look the same, even with different names? Is Zimmer still doing the same stuff?
Definitely. I mean, they're obviously younger in the back end, and have had some injuries in the front. But when you watch Harrison Smith and just the pre-snap disguise and the things that they've always done so well, I think particularly the last 3 weeks that that they've really been playing in sync. I was impressed with the performance Monday night against Chicago. But I think schematically you're seeing a lot of the similarities. Third down and the situational football has always been a schematic challenge, and I see that to be the case when we line up Sunday.
What makes them such a good run team?
Excuse me?
What makes them such a good run team?
Well, they're committed to it. I think they do a really good job of committing to it as far as attempts, particularly the last month. I can't say enough about Cook, and just you watch him progress from his rookie year. I mean, he's a dynamic player. I mean, you see he's a lot more comfortable in Gary Kubiak's system. I think when you look at the relationship of the fullback and the halfback and the speed of how they particularly in their wide outside zone schemes, the ability to take up the slack. They're hitting the hole a lot quicker than I recall. So I mean, I think that's a product of the run blocking unit and the backs being on the same page, and then they obviously do a great job with the keep and boot game off of that. So it's a challenging scheme, and it's definitely one that they've committed to, and it's a big part of their success. Obviously, I mean, they lead the league in running the football, and they've done a heck of a job with it.
How much more of the playbook do you now with Andy being around that you've not had in the last couple of games?
Was that you, Todd? I'm sorry. The first part I didn't catch.
Sorry. How much more of the playbook do you get back now with Andy being back in the mix compared to the last 2 games?
I think obviously you want to do more, but I mean, frankly, we need to get in tune with what we're doing well. We've had a number of changes, so I'm more focused on the continuity, the consistency, and the efficiency of the things that we do well. So, but obviously with Andy in there, you have all the reps from training camp and all the things you've done in the past that that really Ben and Garrett didn't have the opportunity to have that bank account of reps. So, but yeah, it's definitely a larger menu to pick from.
How's Brandon Knight's recovery coming from the knee surgery?
Brandon's doing well. Actually, we'll activate him today. His 21-day window will start today. So we look for Brandon to participate in practice today.
And Mike, how's Tyler Biadasz doing, and do you expect Joe Looney to keep working with the ones this week?
Excuse me?
How is Tyler Biadasz doing, and do you expect Joe Looney to continue to be working with that first group this week?
I mean, Tyler's progressing. As far as how we work the offensive line, we'll keep that. We'll keep that tight to the vest. Until we get to the end of the week. We'll continue, just as I've stated every week. We'll work different combinations. But as we continue to work through this, Tyler's he's been here every day during the bye week. He's getting better.
What sort of relationship did you develop with Mike Zimmer, coaching against him, and just talk about that?
I like Mike. I mean, I've just a little time we've had a chance to spend together. I've always enjoyed him. Professionally, I think he's as good as there is. As far as coaching, particularly defense, I mean, you remember guys you've had a chance to go against. I mean, when I was in New Orleans, I mean, he was coordinating in Dallas, and then he was in Cincinnati, Atlanta, and now he's been over there in Minnesota for a long time. So I have great respect for not only what he does, because he challenges you schematically, but you look at coaches that have done it for a long time at a high level. Mike's players all play the same way, and I think that's a real credit to his coaching style and the job that he's done throughout his career.
Rondo Carter seemed like somebody you guys didn't want to get away earlier this year. He's back now. What's your reaction to getting him back in the building and continuing his development?
It was great to see him. I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you. That was a tough day when the way it went down. But hey, it's a credit to the young man that people around the league, particularly in Indianapolis, thought that much of him. So, but Rondell was definitely someone that we held in high regard. Coming out of the draft. So it's great to have him back. I think he's an excellent fit for how we want to play up front.
What does he bring as an interior rusher potentially this season now that he's on the 53-man roster?
Flexibility. His ability to play the different techniques inside. I think particularly as a young guy, his ability to transition rush from an inside technique, whether it's flat stance, and I think that's something that usually most guys have to develop. But his ability to rush is something that he brings forward with him from his college days at James Madison. But I think he's a really good young player.
Mike, after Ben DiNucci started in Philadelphia, you talked about the importance of learning from that film now that he'd have live reps. How have y'all been doing that with Garrett the last couple of weeks, and what's been the most insightful of what you have from his tape?
Well, I mean, the biggest thing is we're getting time together. I mean, it's to get into the game plan process. It's it's the mental reps. But Garrett, you can tell he's been brought up the right way. He's here all the time. He's putting in the extra time. You've seen him in here over the weekend. So just staying after Ben's still doing the extra work with Doug, as far as post practice and those types of things, working on his off day. You see those guys in here on a Tuesday getting extra work. So, I mean, it's something that every young quarterback goes through in the National Football League is the value of practice reps is so high. And, and those guys understand that they need to do the extra things to make sure they continue to grow.
Coach, Ezekiel Elliott's had fewer than 4 yards a carry in 3 straight games, longest streak of his career. What do you make of that? Is there a way to get him more involved? Does the offensive line have something to do with that because of all the combinations? What stood out from the tape for you recently during the bye week?
Well, I mean, we've had a chance to go back and look at everything, just statistically and video-wise, and it does what it usually does. It confirms which you know the most. I mean, we have 2 glaring negatives as a football team, and that's the penalties and the ball, the turnover differential. So with that is stating the obvious. How do you continue to emphasize that and apply that to your game plan week and the things you do at practice and the things you do in instruction. But at the end of the day, whether it's Zeke, the quarterback, or our defensive players, we just got to continue to create opportunities. We understand the opponent that we're playing. It's football will always be football. So those are really the focus points, and I truly understand statistically where we are compared to maybe the past and so forth. But let's be honest, this is an unprecedented time that every football team's going through. This is unprecedented for our football team. Just the number of changes and things we've had to deal with, and I'm really proud of our guys, the way they continue to bring energy to the workplace every day, and it's important that we improve throughout this week as we get ready to go to win and we'll go up there and win this game in Minnesota.
You guys have a short week next week, of course, with the COVID screening protocols that will delay when you can get a guy to your building. Do you anticipate protecting yourself a little bit and adding a puncher to the practice squad should the situation develop there?
I'm sorry. The first part of your question, for whatever reason, I'm not catching. In what regards to the short week, you're talking about coming off of Minneapolis into the Thanksgiving game?
Yeah, well, I guess the crux of the question is, do you expect to add a puncher in the practice squad over the coming days so that if you need one, he'll be in the building?
Well, I mean, obviously with the transition time to get players into the building, for workouts and things like that. I mean, there's